sorry about that film study of Cafu Tanaka. I checked the video on my phone, everything sounded fine. And then I upload to YouTube, and my voice is relative to the voice of the video, not even there, barely there. So you go figure. I think it's YouTube. YouTube does something to some type of processing, I guess, to the sound of the. I don't know what the fuck. Sounded fine on my phone. Anyway, sorry about that. But just to recap that prediction, I said Bam was going to stop Cafu in 8 rounds because basically Cafu doesn't have a lead hand. He doesn't have a jab. He lets you into mid-range, the pocket, inside, in order to try to catch you with something and knock you out. And that fight with Tanaka that I was watching, I didn't see, every minute of every round, but it didn't even look like he won that fight. But whatever. Be that as it may, he got the shot against Bam, and I picked him to stop this guy because, again, I just knew he was going to let Bam in because he had nothing for him on the outside. Nothing. He kind of probes, kind of jabs a little bit, but early in fights, or in that one, he was very insecure, and he just doesn't have a jab, and that's what you saw in this fight. Bam just walked straight in, and the guy just waited for Bam to come in and try to catch him with the counter punch and knock him out. I thought he was there to win. He's just super limited and very poor. He's not even one-dimensional. He's got like half a dimension. It wasn't a bum, and he had some kind of punching power, but yeah, just meh. But when you look at the two of them facing off, he looks to have, maybe a couple of inches at the shoulders. That's all that matters. The top of the head is irrelevant. On Bam, and Bam's got freakishly long arms, but Bam doesn't have a very good outside game, so who cares? Right, this guy's taller. The arms look a little shorter, maybe by an inch or so. But Bam's like he's shaped like what's that cripple, funny-looking dude from the movie 300? E something. That's who Bam reminds me of. So, this guy was super, super limited and was just hoping for a Hail Mary, which wasn't going to happen because Bam is really good at bringing his hands back home after he throws punches. Once he's in that pocket, he doesn't expose himself. Bam's weakness is his outside game. That's why those tall, rangy guys that moved, and they're like, C-level guys, maybe B-level guys, gave him a very, very difficult time, right? One fight, people thought maybe it was a draw. I thought he won, but it was bad. It was bad. Bam Rodriguez is not a pound-for-pound level fighter. He's very limited. He's flashy. He's got some moves, and he fights old men and, bums. Very low level of opposition. That's why when they asked him about Chocolatito some years ago, he got real quiet, right? He'll fight him now, maybe, probably. He's got the confidence, and Chocolatito's, 40? And he'll fight him now, but whoop-de-fucking-do. When they ask him about Inoue, he gets real quiet, right? He's not a pound-for-pound level guy, which doesn't mean he couldn't get there, but he was very poor in this fight from a tactical, if not technical, standpoint. So that's why it took him so long to get rid of this guy. I think he would have done a lot better had he just, not the whole fight, but for stretches, stood at distance and jabbed at the fucking guy. head, body. Just, I mean, you're in there pounding on gloves, arms, and hitting him too here and there, exerting yourself, doing a heavy bag training routine, and that's all fair and good. Good, do that also, but then step out and pop a long jab and try to hit him with something from long range, because this guy has long levers, and he's shown in his last fight and even in this one that when he tries to counter you when you're standing off from him, he just hits nothing but air. So, right, probe, jab, look, try to set him up, open him up, give him something that he can counter, slip or block or step to the inside, smother with a punch, with a counter punch, right? Then he's wide open because he doesn't have good defense when he throws punches. That's why all you saw from Cafu was either he was curled up in a ball or he was wide open throwing punches. Or maybe just one or two. That's why he didn't throw many punches, because he opens himself up very, very wide when he does. So that's also why the fight sucked, is because the other guy was just limited. Both guys were limited. That's why it sucked. But especially Cafu. So Bam elected to stand in Cafu's wheelhouse for long stretches without feigning, without moving his head, without doing much of anything, with throwing punches. He just stood. He would just walk into range, right? If you were to do that on someone who had, a good long game, they'd just be popping you with the jab or the straight right or whatever. You couldn't do that, right? You have to be a lot more sophisticated. And Bam has an outside game, but it's not great. He falls off balance, brings his feet close together, and jumps up in the air in punching range. That's why he really likes to get past the outside into mid-range, where he looks, spectacular to those who don't know what they're looking at. And he's got good moves. He's got nice technique. He does do a lot of things well, and he is a very good fighter. But pound for pound, he's one-dimensional. Or his other dimensions are underdeveloped, and they need a lot of work. That's why an old man with not a lot of punching power, like El Gaito, that's much smaller than him, can put him on his ass and make it a good fight. You know what I mean? That's like Pacquiao fighting De La Hoya, except shrink De La Hoya down. You know what I mean? Make him smaller than Pacquiao. I mean, come on, man. So okay, Gaito was maybe, for him, where he was in his career, maybe was a little bit better than De La Hoya at the time he fought Pacquiao, but De La Hoya was much bigger than Pacquiao. So all things considered, if that's a pound for pound guy, right, he doesn't get knocked down by an old guy who's coming off 3 losses against Chocolatito, if you know what you're looking at, right? And maybe a gift here and there too, some shaky performances, right, against fellow old guys. Anyway, yeah, Bam was making egregious mistakes and really putting himself in very compromised positions in this fight. But the other guy was just kind of bummy and couldn't take advantage of Bam's mistakes. And fair enough, right? Bam allowed himself to make some of these mistakes because, again, the other guy wasn't taking advantage of them. So fair enough, right? Had he been able to crack Bam, he would have forced him to adjust, and Bam would probably stop making these mistakes, but then Cafu would have gone the distance and maybe won more rounds too, you know what I mean? So yeah, Bam is a work in progress. I don't see pound for pound level skill. I think he could get there. He's young, he's got time. He can get better, no doubt about it, but it's not going to be fighting these types of guys, right? I get it, they have titles somehow, and maybe he's trying to make the best fights, but it's the level of opposition that this guy has fought. He fought names, but the level of opposition has been very underwhelming, and I just see a lot of flaws in this game. And when I see these blatant flaws, because let's just be honest, right? People think he looks spectacular, and the results are spectacular against like top level guys supposedly. But then he gets in the ring with someone who's got some physical attributes, right, over him, where he's not the bigger guy. And these guys are like sloppy and not that good. No one knows who they are. They don't make any noise. They're, C-level fighters, maybe B-level guys. But they're young, they're hungry, and they fight. They use their attributes well. And Bam's not impressive against those guys. He's not spectacular, right? So you have to say, right? What was his name? Israel Gonzalez. Looking at Bam's performance, relative performances versus someone like Israel Gonzalez and Gaito Estrada. Well, clearly Israel Gonzalez is better than Gaito Estrada, right? Clearly. So he's not fighting great opposition. It's to a large degree, Bam is an illusion, and this like whole pound for pound thing. What? The bar is so low now for pound. It's ridiculous. It's so low. When Pacquiao was fighting, for Pacquiao to get on, right, because it's a lower division guy, for Pacquiao to get on the pound for pound list, for Chocolatito to get on the pound for pound list, they had to have had years and years of dominance and in multiple weight classes. Bam has dominated one weight class, where these guys are old, man, and then he doesn't dominate young, hungry dudes. So, right, he hasn't dominated the whole weight class, anybody in it, like Pacquiao did when he got in the ring with, or Chocolatito did when he got in the ring with. It didn't matter who it was, right? Prime Gaito Estrada just dominated him every single fight. When you land twice as many punches as he does and you're backing him up all night, yeah, you're dominating. Anyway, Bam is good, but he's extremely overrated, and he's got a lot of flaws in his game that could be taken advantage of. So, in this Cafu fight, he did a lot of just standing at mid-range and just hitting a heavy bag, right? You didn't see any outside game, and you didn't see any inside game. Not really. Where he's clinching, he's smothering, right? He's manipulating his opponent's gloves, right, to get around to the body, or, you didn't see any of that. Super one-dimensional. He had a sitting duck in front of him. No outside game, no inside game. Just stood in the guy's wheelhouse. Red flags, people. Red flags.